Hello everyone and welcome to the Overwatch All-Star Brawl 6 presented by Star Esports. This is our double elimination tournament dedicated to the Overwatch T3 community. Tonight we got a match for you. We have Regen taking on Solstice in the round 7 of the main bracket, on the final day of the main bracket. I am Bramblebush, joined here with my co-caster Acrinator. And Acri, what a match have we got planned for tonight?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be rather exciting, right? Both of these teams, both of these organizations have been around in the Overwatch scene for a decent amount of time at this point. Regen has been peaking up there towards the top end of Tier 3. Solstice just not too far behind, in all honesty, based off of recent recent performances. And before we get too far into it, I do want to remind everyone watching this on the good old Twitch channel that we do have the MVP poll down below in the About section. So feel free to vote for that because that will determine who we interview for the post match. But Bramblebush, I believe we have someone to interview for the pre match as well.
Yes, we do. We do. We have here with us Russo, the assistant coach of Team Solstice. Russo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Now, Russo, I have to ask, what sort of planning and coaching goes into preparing for a match of this caliber?
So, to be completely honest, you have to treat all official matches you go into about the same way. You have to always make sure that even against a team like Regen, who's definitely pretty respected in the scene, you have to make sure even against teams that don't have that same reputation that you're scouting, you're looking at adjusting your comps, adjusting your strategies map to map and layout to layout.
All right, sounds about
Right.
normal from what you hear. Um, in particular, like I alluded to earlier, Regen in the most recent Open Division hits right around top 16, right? And looking at the Open Division bracket, Solstice actually got just one round prior they fell out, so didn't quite hit that top 16. Is there any sort of mental preparation that goes into this kind of match? Not just like strategizing, but like making sure your players are hyped up and ready to go, but not too hyped.
There's definitely an element of preparing and coaching the team's mental specifically that I think a lot of people don't realize is really central to esports because ultimately you're working with people who are above everything else competitive, people who are passionate and driven, and a loss hurts. It's really rough, and that's easy for a team to take a hit after a loss, not because their performance is slipping, but because their mental is. So, yeah, there's definitely an element of trying to make sure the players are not only performing at the standard that we want to see in game, but also confident and trusting in each other so that they can play off the strategies and the situations that we're developing ahead of time accurately in the game. That kind of execution can happen.
All right. And I guess speaking of the match, looking at Regen, are there any particular player or perhaps any strategy that you might be worried about from your opponents, or is that not something that you guys worry about?
So I will say, Pascal specifically is that's a very big name on Regen there, and he does have quite the group of fans I think following him to the team. That you can definitely see the effects of that trickling down into everywhere else that Regen plays. But for the most part, I feel that the staff at Solstice were very confident that we've come up with strategies that are not only adaptable, but should be the strongest way for our team to play on every map. So even if we're facing a team that might lean into certain heroes or certain compositions more than others, it's more important that the team is just aware of what the adaptations might be, but still stick to the primary goal and the primary win condition that we've already set up and established.
All right. I think without forcing you to divulge too much information about your plans, that's all the questions I've got. Bramble, do you have anything else?
No, that was all the questions that I had. Got a lot of very informative insight into the creative minds behind these talented players. Russo, I want to thank you for your time and wish you best of luck in today's match. Before you go, do you have any social media that you want to shout out or anything you want to say to the fans?
I do have, I'd say, a Twitter and a Twitch are the most important things that, as far as looking for my content or finding the things I'm doing. You can find me at twitter.com/Russo_OW, which has stuck around for quite a while. And then I think the Twitch should be twitch.tv/Coach Russo. But if you're looking for more Solstice-sided content specifically, definitely look for Solstice's Twitter account.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Russo.
Thank you for having me. It was a good time.
All right. A
All
lot of
right.
confidence coming out of the assistant coach of Solstice today. And let me tell you, I love seeing any member of these competitive teams just oozing confidence.
Yeah, and at this level, right? I mean, we are pretty heavily into tier 3 at this point. This isn't the community level anymore. You know, we're not in GGNA anymore. We're very we're very much at that like top level of play. That's that next step above, and definitely on their path to pro, as it were. So I'm gonna be very interested to see. Now, of course, the first map is predetermined. It's gonna be Lijiang Tower. After that, there's a little bit of a tricky way to determine the maps. We'll get to that when we get to that. But Lijiang Tower, in particular, I'm excited, you know, because I haven't seen these teams play since Open Division. You know, catch the odd stream here or there. So it's a nice refresher, right? Because Lijiang Tower lets you play so many different kinds of compositions. Get to see a little bit of flavor that these teams like to throw into their strategies.
Oh yeah, the compositions that you could see come out on Lijiang Tower range anywhere from Brawl to Dive to Symmetra, and Wrecking Balls get thrown around a lot on these maps. And it's just, you never know, it's a grab bag of compositions, right? You never know what you're going to get, but you know it's going to be enjoyable to watch. And honestly, I think it's one of the fan favorite maps in this game, probably up there with King's Row. And there's just nothing that you don't walk away from Lijiang Tower going, well, I didn't like that. It's just, it's always good. So I'm
Yeah,
real excited to see
definitely.
what these teams pull out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will have a few more seconds of our beautiful faces before we get to the real meat of the situation. We are going to be starting on Night Market, as you'll see in just a few moments. Once the timer ticks down, about 30 seconds ready to go. So these teams will wait and see like what they want to play, right? Of course, this is control. They can beam around and spawn. So let's not worry too much about what they're playing until the doors actually open and they don't really want to waste any more time. But Night Market generally we like to see either kinds of compositions that like to just hunker down or the kind that like to get really scrappy and like divide and conquer their opponents, right? So I'd expect to
Yep.
see those kinds of niches filled, one or the other, and it's really going to depend on target focus and sticking together as a team. As the composition demands, and as you can see, they're both sticking with the Wrecking Ball composition, so it's going to be probably trying to fight a little bit more in the courtyard to allow these main tanks on the Wrecking Ball to get more space to actually roll around.
Yep, and in the courtyard you have indeed called that the pharmacy on the side of Regen, trying to spam in a little bit of damage from the sky, but Solstice doing a great job of staying out of those sight lines, preventing the damage from being taken. Oh no, SCL-33 getting caught out, has to grapple hook all the way around back to a spawn ship to prevent getting eliminated, and he falls off the map anyway. The fight is now spilling onto the point. Gretton getting hacked out with that Diva, but they don't manage to get the D-Mech. Akiv, the Discord getting brought dangerously low. Oh no, Today goes in for a pile driver, gets hacked out and eliminated. Solstice already having control of the point, but Regen fighting back pretty hard. They might be able to flip it again already. Pascal getting taken down. That's the big name out of the fight early. Aspect, look at that, already up with the pulse bomb. Is he going to see use of it in this first fight? Kind of blinking around, trying to take down Gretton. SCL-33 with that big pile driver. The fight is just brawling around. The pulse bomb comes out from Akiv, but it doesn't find anything. Today just rolling into the team with those adaptive shields, keeping him alive in the fight, cornering Joey and just bullying that Brigitte before taking it down. Fofi getting demeched on the point before getting taken down. And now it's just a little bit of a cleanup onto Aspect before we're going to see SCL-33 getting taken down. Maybe? Possibly? Does he get away? He does not, and the point will flip to Regen.
Yeah, however, for a fight that felt very much out of Solstice's control, right? It felt very scrappy the entire time they had the point. They got a free 46% off of that, right? They have some ultimates to work with. I think they did a really great job of just stalling out, and they have the EMP in the mines if they want to. Sure enough, they're going to use it almost immediately.
It finds 3, but Pascal is in with the Transcendence to keep the team alive. So with a barrage on the Aspect, a little bit of a direct solo ultimate there. members of Regen are going to start pushing Solstice back. Pulse Bomb comes out from Aspect, but it doesn't find any eliminations. Today getting hit with that anti-grenade, but he rolls out, manages to stay alive. A lot of damage coming through onto SEL33, and he gets taken down. Fofi gets back in the mech, but Lambent falls right around him, so it looks like Solstice is going to be on retreat here, trying to regroup.
Yeah, Solstice having a little bit of a tough time. I think they wanted to stage in this tight little corridor over where you see a kid is, but it's not really the best place for a Wrecking Ball comp like this to stay for long periods of time, especially when you have Pascal just doing so much damage in the meantime.
Today throwing out the minefields. Joey with the rally to give his team some armor to get through those mines unscathed. Self-destruct getting thrown into the window from Fofi. It doesn't find any elimination, but it's a pretty good zoning ult. Preventing Regen from recontesting, and Solstice will take the point.
That was a lot less fight up than I was expecting out of Regen, but I guess they have enough opportunities to soft disengage and re-engage. It looks like they just want to get out for the time being, especially with Lambent on this McCree. They're going to start looking for ski coops. Yep, there you go, and that's going to be the point flipped over. So thus far, it's been rather close, but it feels a lot more scrappy whenever Solstice has control of the point. So maybe a little bit more of a plan coming in from Regen. But regardless, I mean, control percentage is really all that matters at the end of the day. So, you know, coming into this next fight, Solstice is going to have the nano boost. I don't know necessarily who they want to throw it on. I've seen the McCree in the past. I've seen the Wrecking Ball if they even get the chance.
They nano the D.Va, but they lose Joey and Rem in the process with no supports. It's going to have to be a down and dirty fight for the rest of the team to hold on. They managed to take down Eski, but the remaining members of Regen are just coming to the point en masse, putting in an outburst of damage. Aspect of valiant effort with that recall, but he's going to get taken down, and Regen will take control.
Crucially as well, Regen really only had to use a couple ultimates to take control of that fight, right? They only used the Barrage, they used the Transcendence from Pascal, but they still have basically 3 1/4 ultimates online, right? Whereas Solstice don't really have too much. They have the High Noon from Lambent, so at least there's that, but they're going to have to act quickly because this is one fight territory and then some.
Yeah, and they feel that. Popping the Valkyrie is Eski getting a little bit of a power boost and mass healing out. Overtime has been triggered. The High Noon coming out from Lambent. Is he going to find anything? He finds the Flyers on Regen, but gets taken out by that self-destruct in the process. Today getting anti-stunned, but he gets the minefields out. Solstice has retaken the point, and Overtime is going to continue to tick down. Regen does not have many members left. Akiv falls, and round 1 will go to Solstice.
You know, that first fight and even the continuing fight whenever Solstice had control of the point felt sloppy, but that final fight right there felt really clean. I think they just needed that warm-up round, right? A lot of teams need that some of the times just to get the first map jitters out of the way. And Control's honestly a great place to do that. Now we're in Control Center, however, so expect a lot of Reinhardt, a lot of Junkrat, and probably a lot of Symmetra, although we do see Regen teasing the Tracer Doomfist. There is still some time to swap if they see fit. The Tracer is a little bit unorthodox, but I have seen the Doomfist in the past. I would be interested to see how they decide to pull it off. Like, it's very flanky. No, okay, the Symmetra does come out, so at the very least we're going to have more standard in that regard. Expect to see Ski Coops go on some pretty hard flanks looking for picks.
Oh, and a big brawl erupts right here outside of the server room. Immortality fields have to come down for both teams to keep the Reinhardts up, but that's all for naught as they both fall. A trade of the DPS onto Aspect and Ski Coops. These teams are sitting pretty even for the moment. Regen falling back a little bit, trying to just regroup, so Solstice is going to kind of spread out and try and establish a little bit of dominance around the point, splitting the attention of Regen. Green on that D.Va, trying to put in a lot of spam damage with those micro missiles. Ski Coops eliminating SCL33, and Earthshatter from today, very early on, is going to secure the point for Regen. That was a fast build of that ult.
Yeah, well, I guess that happens when you're just swinging nonstop. No shield, only hammer. That being said, though, you do have Fofi coming very quickly up to that gravitic flux, right? And Eski isn't that close to the beat quite yet. It's going to take a little while. So there is that window of opportunity where it's going to be awkward, especially if they can force out Pascal's lamp. But, well, Fofi needs to survive.
And Pascal's amplification matrix putting out a multitude of healing on the team, allowing them to get even more aggressive and pushing back the members of Solstice. Fofi still gets that gravitic flux, and so the teams are going to push back in. The question is, are they going to be able to throw it and find the value before Eski manages to get that sound barrier? Lambent's tire comes out. The Symmetra wall is not going to be enough to protect from the tire, but the Immortality field protects from the flux. No sound barrier needed, but it's only a small area that you can protect with that thing, and the team will fall, allowing Solstice to take the point.
Yeah, like I said, Eski only built up to the beat very late towards just after the flux had actually been invested, so it's very difficult to keep up. Regen are already recontesting this, right? They're pushing forward, they're ready to go, especially with the beat. They're just pushing. Oh dear.
Oh, a nasty Earthshatter finds 3 from SCL33, and it looks like with that amplification matrix up as well, that's going to end that push. Dead in the water. They lose SCL33 with that Eski boop. But that's fine. Reinhardt just charges back, and he's with the team.
Yeah, and I mean, you have Fofi up to yet another Gravitic Flux. That's going to be rather lethal. Mind you, Regen has a decent amount of time still. They're only like 35% now. Solstice is onto the point, so they can take their time, take a dry fight, bait out some of these ultimates, right, and then go forward from there.
The Gravitic Flux finds 3. They take down the Immortality field, so he eliminates 2 off the bat with that. Again, just stopping the push before it even begins.
This has honestly been really great from Solstice in general, right? Because when you're running the Sigma in this Brawl composition, the Brawly double shield, you're not able to get like as in the face of the opponents as like the Diva Brawl is from Regen, right? But they're not allowing Regen to get in their faces anymore. They're just poking them out before they get the chance to move at all. Oh no.
A nasty double kill with that tire. But Green sneaks around and touches the point, forcing the members of Solstice to split up and retreat. They actually lose Joey though, so Regen might have the chance to push in here. Amplification matrix coming out from Pascal, gonna double up on that damage and healing. The self-destruct gets thrown up by Green. Doesn't find any value. A massive destruction, finding 3, and that's going to allow Regen to take the point off the back of that team kill.
Oh dear, yep. Well, at a certain point, you just invest so many resources, including the lamb from Rem, that you don't have anything more for the Bob. You're like, well, guess I'll die, but it's okay, because they're in one fight territory. They have a ton of ultimates. Solstice is actually looking quite good. As long as they get any amount of value from these ultimates, especially the Shatter, they should be able to take this fight. Regen doesn't have that much to work with here.
Ski Coops dropping from the top with that big rocket hammer fist. Both Shatters coming out from both sides, not really finding any value. Akib's Deadeye comes out. Is he going to find an elimination, or is it more of a zoning ult? It looks like it's going to be the zoning ult. He's already out of it. The sound barrier is dropped by Eski to try and secure this point, and it is allowing them to get those eliminations. There's 4 down. They lose Green's mech in the process, but it looks like Solstice is not going to be able to touch the point, and we will be going to round 3 on Lijiang Tower.
Despite Eski dying in the most hilarious way possible, it doesn't matter, you know, it's a celebratory suicide, I guess, in a way. But of course we have to go to Gardens, because it's not Lijiang without Gardens. And this, honestly, I don't know if these teams are going to want to run the more Reinhardt Brawl stuff, or, okay, we do have Regen teasing the 6-man composition, although Akib, okay, there we go. This is a more traditional 6-man rush kind of deal, whereas Solstice actually teasing the Wrecking Ball with the Sigma. We haven't seen this since, oh god, early this year, like January, February, maybe pushing into March. So, okay, yeah, the Diva's a little bit more modern, as it were, so in a way, kind of 2 flavors of 6-man, just the main tank is different.
Yeah, going to be an interesting roll-around fight as SCL33 heads onto the point, distracting the members of Regen, and allows a hack to go through on Eski. A big pile driver displaces 3 of them, and a lot of damage is coming out on the side of Solstice. Fofi getting knocked out of that mech, but Eski gets hacked out and eliminated, so the team's basically even on a 5v5, 5.5 if you're Solstice, but now they've lost Fofi, and Ski Coops gets eliminated by his mirror. So the point is unlocked, but the teams are going to continue to commit to this fight. Oh, and those enclosed spaces today is just going to cleave damage through with that Tesla cannon. Green gets hacked out and demech'd. Regen is going to try to push in and take the point, but Solstice will get the first cap and start ticking up the progress. Then it looks like they are going to be sending the members of Regen into a full retreat. And this first fight will fully go the way of Solstice.
Both Aspect and Lambent did such a ridiculous amount of work in that previous fight. I mean, they already have their ultimates. And mind you, Pulse Bomb and EMP are rather quick to charge, but compare that to Akiv and Ski Coops. They're already investing Pulse and EMP. They don't even want them to move out of spawn.
And it found value. They got the elimination onto Ski Coops, and without the Sombra to really try to distract the ball or at least deny some healing, that push is at least going to be slowed down. Yeah, CL33 just getting free value rolling through the teams. They're cutting across the bridge. They invest the Coalescence to make sure they have the healing to get across. The minefield comes out, but he gets hacked out, so no pile driver to secure some eliminations with it. Joey's sound barrier giving them the shielding they need to get past the mines.
Oh, no.
Angry Monkey comes out from today. Akiv's Pulse Bomb manages to eliminate SCL33. Today is just going to be beating the members of Solstice back, but he's not going to find any eliminations with it. Much more of a zoning ultimate. Fofi pushing the members of Regen onto the point, trying to get the DMAC onto his counter. A big EMP coming out from Ski Coops, and Eski's sound barrier gives them the resources they need to stay aggressive. They lose today to that Pulse Bomb, but they're still fighting back quite hard. Oh no, a little bit of a spin to win here from SCL33, but Ski Coops gonna deny that hard. Regen still has the members on point to try to take this, but the stall from Solstice is a little too strong. Look at this, they're still going in and committing. Fofi getting hacked out, but he has the self-destruct. He's not going to risk using it on the DMAC, though. He's just going to take his elimination like a champ. And still, though, Akiv with 2 eliminations, and Solstice just has way too much sustainability. They might even be able to push this into overtime. Nope, spoke a little too soon there, but 96% on their first contest, and they have the ultimates to get back.
I really like the discipline from Solstice towards the very end there. None of them invested the ultimates, right? It was already a lost fight. They knew that. They were just pushing it as far as humanly possible towards that 99%. Because now they have 3 ultimates online. The Beat and the Coalescence especially are going to build up really fast.
Oh, the EMP self-destruct. Data Bomb finds 3! Green throwing up his self-destruct, but he's not going to find any value with it. Akiv's Pulse Bomb comes out, but also no value. Point's going to flip back to Solstice again already, and they might be able to finish it off right here on the backside of that combo. Green doesn't even make it to the point. Ski Coops jumps in, throws a 4-man EMP, but loses his life in the process. The Coalescence for Pascal, though, putting out some damage and healing. He gets hacked out, but not before finding the elimination onto Rem. Another sound barrier coming out from Joey, giving it the 3 members remaining on point a little bit more sustained. Today's Angry Monkey, that 1000 HP pool is going to allow him to fight back hard. They might be able to take the point back, but again, the sustain is just far too strong in the side of Solstice. They are just throwing themselves onto point and showing a little bit more discipline here. They're going to stop the stagger, fall back, regroup. Regen actually took that back.
That got really dicey for Regen, but they had a great amount of target focus there to get everyone on Solstice off the point, retake it, right? So now they can breathe a sigh of relief, but not for too long, because Solstice is already here again.
Yep, they're going to provoke out Eski's sound barrier, trying to secure the fight.
Oh.
The tanks on Regen getting caught out by that
no.
EMP. I saw somebody go off the map there. It was Fofi. There it is. Green gets eliminated as well. The 2 members who got hacked from the EMP getting taken down. Solstice once again up, trying to get the secured eliminations, trying to get that point back. Ski Coop sending Joey into the wall before he loses his own life. The Coalescence coming out from Pascal. They're trying to fight back hard and keep it on. Self-destruct comes in the window. Doesn't find any eliminations though. A zoning ult right there to be sure. Pascal on the tail end of that Coalescence manages to get the elimination onto Lambent as Solstice comes flying in through the window, trying to contest onto the point. A little bit of a double spin to win there as the 2 Wrecking Balls fly around that centerpiece. The minefield comes out from SCL33, and it does manage to secure the elimination onto Akiv. So now today is going to have to throw in the Primal Rage once again. Those 1000 hit points going to deny a lot, but also feed a lot of ult charge, so he's got to be careful with that. Fofi getting taken out of the mech, and overtime is now triggered again. Green's minefield comes out, gonna deny half of the point from Solstice. The sound barrier from Joey comes out, keeping the supports of Solstice alive, gives Rem time to build up and throw out the Coalescence. Eski answers with a sound barrier of his own, giving sound barrier to 4 of his team members. Overtime counter getting dangerously close to running down there. No eliminations, though. These teams having the sustain that they need.
They don't
But
touch.
Solstice doesn't touch the point.
Ah.
And Regen's going to take Lijiang
Oh,
Tower
man.
and bring the series up 1-0.
What a ridiculous comeback, right? Looking at Night Market versus the last 2 rounds, it wasn't quite night and day, but it was very much Regen waking up in a big way, right? I don't think Solstice stepped off the gas. It was more just Regen cleaning up their act in a really big way, right? It got really dicey there, especially on Gardens that final round. That very easily felt like it could have gone to Solstice, but they just never wanted to give up, right? And I think that's one of the traits that we see a lot of the most successful teams in any level of play, from like the Overwatch League all the way down to here in Tier 3, right? Of these aspiring pros. And they portrayed that characteristic to a T. Playing smart, right? Like knowing when to invest the resources and when you're able to get away with what feels like cheese, but in all reality is just great team play.
Absolutely. The synergy of both of these teams being shown very strongly in that first map. There's not really more to be said. You hit the nail on the head there. These guys obviously know what they're doing, and they're managing to work together to a degree that just there's no way you can really say either team did something wrong in this series. They both went full force, gave it everything they had. Regen just had a bit more focus, we'll call it, because Solstice, as you said, they never took their foot off the gas. They were just going full force. They got what they needed. They got the eliminations. They managed to hold the point. I mean, we saw them stall out, what, 70, 90% almost there on
Something
Gardens?
like that, yeah.
Yeah, a wild amount. You would not expect to see that sort of stall. So, absolutely. It's just Regen, they had a little bit more focus, a little more wherewithal, a little bit more presence of mind, and it saw them through map 1.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of maps, right? Map 2 has a little bit of a different way to be determined than you see in most other tournaments, right? So basically from here, Regen will ban a map of the entire map pool outside of control, because they can't play another control yet, right? So the teams can go to Assault, they can go to Hybrid, they can go to Escort, right? But Regen will ban one of those maps that's eligible. From there, Solstice will pick a map that they want to play out of the remaining maps that's not control. And then from there, Regen will choose which side they want to defend or attack first. Right, so a little bit different from what you see in most other tournaments, but it spices things up, keeps the teams on their toes. If they want to just play, control escort, they could probably do that for a little while before they run out of maps.
Yeah, a big mind game as well as a technical game in this tournament. You have all these different maps that, even though they're the same map type, they demand so many different play styles, so many different compositions. Honestly, just an entirely different mindset altogether, and you can scrim a certain map, a certain composition to perfection, to where you could even be, on par with members of the Overwatch League. You could try to take down the Shanghai Dragons or the Dallas Fuel, and then your opponents go ahead and ban that map, and it's like, oh, well, what are we gonna do now? So you really have to have that awareness of what can come next. You have to always be prepared for that unexpected. Our best map just got banned. What are we gonna do next?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I don't see that being an issue with these teams so far. Their performance, absolutely. Both these teams managing to adapt on the fly, despite minimal composition mix-ups there on Lijiang Tower. Still, you could see the playstyle and the mindset of both teams adapt. Just almost an instantaneous shift. I mean, on Night Market, we saw these ball-based compositions that took fights in a little bit of corners, a little bit on the courtyard, and in the span of a fight, if not maybe in between the two fights, we've got brawl. The Pharah, or to prevent any sort of flanks. On Gardens, we had all those dive-based compositions that turned into such brawl-heavy situations because they were just throwing themselves onto the point. And then in Command Center, not much to be said about Command Center. Solstice was just absolutely
Yeah.
dominant on Command Center. Regen, they tried. You could definitely see that they were like, okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Green, flank around, try to get onto the point, split their attention. Green did. They split the attention, and Green was just taken down immediately. And I believe they even lost Eski or Pascal in the process with that as well. So the effort was there. The awareness was there. The adaptability was there. As Bear Grylls would say, improvise, adapt, overcome. And these teams, they've done that. They can do that. They'll continue to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like, let's see, yep, so Regen is going to be banning Volskaya, and then Solstice appears to be choosing Temple of Anubis for the map that we will actually be playing, and then Regen is now going to be choosing the side. Also, a quick reminder, of course, the MVP vote is still going on. That will determine who we give the post-match interview to. So remember to vote in that in the About section of the Twitch channel. That is rather important. The most important according to the higher-ups here at Overwatch All-Stars Brawl. Yeah, it looks like Regen, unsurprisingly, are going to be wanting to choose the defense, which it's kind of rare that you see a team choose offense unless they're really raring to go, but generally, strategically, it's more common to see the defense be preferred because you get to set the win condition and then force, in this case, Solstice to kind of play up to that.
Absolutely. Took the words right out of my mouth. You get to set that win condition if you're starting on the defense. So not a surprise there. Make sure you get your votes in, everyone, for your MVP. Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and click that little Twitch heart. Follow the channel so you can be notified and updated of any future matches that go on. We have another set of matches planned later tonight as the final match of our main bracket for round 1. So you definitely don't want to miss that.
Definitely. We'll give you more information on that towards the end of this game and all that good stuff. But for now, these teams are setting up in Temple of Anubis. We still got a little bit of time before we hop over into it, right? But there's a decent amount of versatility that these teams play, right? We've seen everything from like a more dive-heavy meta to the double shield. It can also vary on this map in particular between attack and defense, right? Draw Anubis is a very common term, and it really depends on the defense's ability to recontest the point, especially second point. And then on the other side of things, right, the offense really needs to have that target focus locked into place, right? Because especially once you get the second point on these 2 CP maps, as many people begrudgingly know, is that if you don't have target focus, you're not capturing second point. And the same rings true here with Temple of Anubis. But as we're going to be getting into the map in just a second here, of course, we have Regen on double shield on the defense and Winston Roadhog. Okay. I can dig it. Let's see what happens. I don't know what they're going to do, but okay, well, Lambent is going to die. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, an early pick. I think that's going to stop that push cold right there.
Yeah, I don't see how you... I am very confused by the Roadhog. I'm intrigued, I should say, because I don't like to question people who are infinitely better at the game than me, right? I just want to see what actually happens here. What's the strategy? Because there has to be something. Right? Okay, Fulfi actually goes back and swaps the D.Va. So whatever the strategy was, we're never going to know unless we get to interview them after the fact. So this is a more stereotypical dive now. They already have Nano? What? Wait, when did that happen?
SCL-33 getting angry monkeyed already, so he's got the Tesla Cannon and Electric Monkey 2, Electric Boogaloo, getting a lot of damage pumped into his face. He is going to get taken out by Ski Coops, but his teammates around him managing to find 3 eliminations. Akiv gets rezzed and manages to find a pick onto Aspect. Wow, very dominant push, but it looks like it's getting slowed down. Aspect getting rezzed on the side of Solstice. They do manage to get permanent progress on that capture point. Lambent falling in behind Green, trying to get the damage in. Oh, Sigma, you're not going to kinetic grasp, but Winston to the face, and so that's probably going to be the end of that fight right there. Yep, Ski Coop's getting taken out of the sky right after Lambent, and point A is going to be captured already.
Now that I think about it, because I wasn't expecting Rem to build up Nano Boost that quickly, I wonder if the Roadhog was just to take damage to feed into Nano Boost. Unfortunately, I'd have to go back and watch the VOD, but that almost makes sense to me, because otherwise I have no idea how those 2 tanks synergize in a way that you'd actually want to play it. But if you're just building up to Nano, it kind of makes sense. Again, we'd have to like ask Solstice after the fact to figure that out for sure, but that makes more sense to me.
Yeah, and with those Roadhog buffs of earning 25% less ult, that's a very interesting choice in today's meta. Angry Monkey coming out from SCL33, batting the healers of Regen into the corner. He gets taken down by Pascal, though. The Diet Soldier 76, known as Baptiste, showing why he's a force to be reckoned with as he eliminates that monkey. Fofi flying in, trying to still put a little bit of pressure on the point. Skikoop's Torbjorn getting brought dangerously low. The duplicate from Lambent onto the Ash. He's building up Bob very fast, but he gets taken out before he can throw Bob onto the point, so that is an ultimate he is going to be wanting back. Green gets that elimination onto Aspect. The Halt Orb comes through. Halt pulls down Joey, who's going to be taken down, and that's going to send Solstice into full retreat. It looks like they're going to get the stagger onto Rem as well.
Yeah, that's being 2CP'd in a nutshell. You can get picks, but it doesn't matter unless you're not dying yourself, right? You gotta get them fast. Especially considering that Solstice don't really have too many ultimates to speak of. They're coming up on a few up in this upcoming fight, so that if they take their time, they can certainly build up to those win conditions, right? Aspect is going to have that pulse bomb rather soon. They have both support ultimates once again, but they're going to have to walk into Skikoops with the Molten Core, as well as a key with the Bob right about now.
Another Electric Monkey coming out with SCL33. The self-destruct goes in from Fofi. No eliminations from that, but a separate explosion from Aspect's Pulse Bomb takes down Eski. Akiv's Bob on point is going to be a menacing presence, and he finds an elimination onto Aspect, so that's going to slow down Solstice's push, but they do continue to dive in. Joey putting the staff in the shop as he takes down Skikoops. The self-destruct from Green doesn't find any eliminations, zoning ult again, and Pascal gets that elimination onto Fofi. Once again, that the push is going to be slowed down with an offensive Pascal eliminating a tank.
Baptiste does what Baptiste do. I don't know what to say about that one. It's just a lot of damage, like you said, soldier light. Either which way, the defense definitely has an ultimate advantage, so it's going to be rather difficult. I'd almost expect Solstice to want to take a dry fight. They have the time to do so, and it might be advantageous if they can force out like the bongo or the window, or maybe even both if they're lucky. You know, if 3gen are feeling antsy, maybe. But otherwise, they are investing ults into this stuff.
A full committal as the Amplification Matrix from Pascal and Lambent's duplicate come out. Fofi and Lambent getting brought dangerously low, that Amplification Matrix being a huge factor in that fight. Akiv is going to get the first blood onto SCL33, and that push is going to stop the Solstice in full retreat.
Yeah, they just have not been able to find their footing, but the one saving grace, they did manage to force out both ultimates that Regen had, like I said, and now they're coming up onto quite a few of their ultimates. They did use the duplicate from Lambent last fight, but they basically have the other 5 ultimates on lockdown right now, so they can just kind of press Q all at once and see what happens.
And they are going to press Q on Rem's Nano Boost first and force out the Molten Core. The Pulse Bomb comes out, but the supports get away from it. Fofi getting the first kill onto Skikoops, and with Today falling, that's a 6v4 advantage in favor of Solstice, so they're going to commit to this fight quite hard. Skikoops' turret getting taken down as Angry Monkey comes out of the back door of the shrine. A little bit less angry, but he gets eliminated. Self-destruct from Green to get back into the mech, and it's going to force out Fofi's self-destruct to also get back in the mech. No more eliminations going to roll through today, armoring up to prevent being taken down by Aspect's Tracer. Skikoop's going to find the pick onto Joey, and Aspect falls as well. Another push that started strong is going to end for Solstice. They're going to have to figure something out pretty soon.
Yeah, I think we can all start to understand why a lot of higher level players are very happy that 2CP is supposedly not going to be in Overwatch 2, because that looked like a good fight from Solstice, and then it just kind of devolved into spawn advantage wins. And very much leaves Solstice anemic in terms of ultimates. I mean, Aspect is going to build up that Pulse Bomb, but that's really just an overpowered cooldown if you ask me, and Lambent is going to have to duplicate again. But I mean, Regen is going to have almost a similar amount of ultimates with a decent amount of impact, if not more, with the Bob, with the stall potential, and the bongo.
Akeev throws out Bob into that
Oh,
side
no.
corner. They use the immortality field to keep him up and ensure his damage comes out. Lambent's going to duplicate that Sigma, and SCL-33 falls at the beginning of the fight. Aspect's Pulse Bomb eliminates Pascal. The duplicated Flux comes out, but they eliminate him before he can really get that slam down. But he comes out of it, finding an elimination onto Eski. The DPS of Regen putting in work, finding 2, make that 3. Green throwing his hat in the ring as well, getting the pick onto Lambent. And they're going to full hold second point. So a full point is all Solstice have. Win condition has been set.
Rough. Very much rough from Solstice, because, like we said, a few of those fights felt pretty solid from Solstice, but they just couldn't overcome that spawn advantage from Regen, and Regen did a great job of recontesting the point, always keeping someone there, making sure they didn't give up any progress. So now, as long as they capture first point, they have a draw or win scenario. So that's looking pretty good for Regen, especially if they want to go up 2-0 in the series.
Absolutely. So kind of not really anywhere to lose ground if you're Regen. And I want to point out, Akri, I looked over at the Twitch chat. They were in fact reaffirming your theory of
Yeah, I
the
saw
hog
that.
to build the nano. Yeah, I want to draw your attention to that damage taken from Fofi, 12,000 throughout that first round. Absolutely, that's gonna guarantee a nano.
Probably like 4 or 5 nanos, if we're being honest.
Yeah, 12,000 damage taken, but a total of 2 deaths across that first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not much more to say. I guess that stat kind of speaks for itself. And no real surprise that both of these teams coming out on the double shield. It seems to be the more prevalent meta over the past couple of weeks, right? It was teetering back and forth between that and like double bubble for a while, but it's kind of back to the good old double shield, I guess. You know, some people love it, some people hate it. It's
you
whatever.
love to hate it. Fofi throwing a Kobe of a rock and nailing ski coops out of the sky. I hope somebody caught that in the stream. Bit of a slow engagement here from Regen. They're taking their time. It looks like they're going to try to secure an early pick or try to force a displacement of the members of Solstice before they move on to the point. They know they have some time to work with. They know Solstice is on their back foot. They're going to rotate around here. Looks like maybe trying to take the high ground, take control of that mega health pack room. But,
they're chasing up on the high ground.
They're chasing them up. That's going to give control of that mega health pack to Solstice, and it's going to give them the high ground when Regen drops down onto point.
They might have to give it a tick, though.
I mean, I might just be smooth-brained, but I don't fully understand the play behind it. But again, these guys, like you said, infinitely better than us. The amplification matrix coming out from Rem a little too far back to see any value onto the point. That pull exactly massive. The eliminations just slowly rolling through, snowballing down from Regen, and they are already in a guaranteed draw at worst.
What's more is that there's not a ton of snowball potential quite yet, because Ski Coops did have to invest that duplicate, right? But at the very least, they do have the Amp Matrix and the Valk, which they can use to build up their tank ultimates. They can use to build... Okay, well, maybe not anymore. So now, wait, no, the res is online. For some reason, I thought it was offline from the previous fight. It's hard to keep track of that, but that's why these people are the players. So they can still use their support ults to build everything else up and try and snowball from there.
And here come the support ults, Amplification Matrix and Valkyrie on the side of Regen. Gonna use that to push in
Joey.
hard. Joey, but Lambent is going to be the one who falls first. Gravitic Flux coming out from green, finds 1, 2, slamming down the elimination onto Fofe. Both Orisa Bongos coming down. SEL33 losing his life and the point and the map. 2-0 Regen.
Yeah, well, they just need one more map, and they close out the game rather quickly, as it were. Despite Solstice honestly showing some legitimately good play, it's just Regen seems that one step ahead of them, right? Pascal here on their offense. Oh wow, 2 kills with 1 burst. That's a rare sighting, but you take those, you know, as Russo said earlier in the pre-match interview, they were kind of worried about Pascal because he has a bit of a reputation, and I guess he's showing that.
reputation certainly preceding Pascal, and I have said it before, I will continue to say it again. Diet Soldier 76 with that Baptiste. Amazing.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be Solstice's map pick again. Of course, Regen will get to ban a map that they don't want to play, so at least they have that power. And of course, they get to decide if they want to defend first or go on the offense this time around. But yeah, we'll be going through that. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, because this might be the last map of the series, and we want to know who we have to interview at the end of this series, the
Could be your last
MVP
chance.
poll. Section. Who do you think's doing the best? Who do you think deserves the post-match interview? Let us know, and we'll get them in for an interview. But yeah, Regen looking solid, right? So it looks like they're going to be banning Nepal, so we're not going to be going to that one, right? Technically, there is another control map in the pool. Let me bring that up
Solstice
somewhere.
could be pulling that up. We could see another control.
Let's see.
Nepal.
We could go to Oasis, technically.
Nepal is a map that I think Regen. I don't know. Regen might have been afraid of that map because that is a map. Looking at the way the compositions these teams have picked so far and their play styles, Nepal actually seems like a map that could have favored Solstice.
Yeah, I think so too.
And so
So-
Regen definitely stacking the deck in their favor. Taking out those maps that they don't need to worry about
Okay.
and trying to keep it on maps that they know that they can continue to just bring the hammer down onto the head of Solstice. And it looks like they have selected Watchpoint Gibraltar for the next map.
We have not seen that much dive from either of these teams, so I'm actually quite curious. You can get away with the double shield, especially on like first point defense of Gibraltar, but dive and double bubble feel more common, right? I could even see Wrecking Ball compositions, and we saw a little bit of the Wrecking Ball comps from, I believe, Solstice on Lijiang Tower. So I guess we could say that favors them, but outside of, I think it was Gardens of Lijiang Tower, we haven't seen too much of that. It seems to be more towards like the Brawl and the Double Shield recently. So I'm very curious to see like what happens with this one. And keep in mind, there is not any potential for a draw. The chances of that are so astronomically low, I don't think we even need to acknowledge it, because I've personally never seen that. I've seen clips of it, and it would be hilarious if it happened, but I'm guessing this is going to not end in a draw, right?
I don't see that happening. If that happens, I mean, I'm not even going to try and come up with anything, because if it happens, I'm going to regret that. So we'll just leave it be. It's not going to happen. We're not going to see a draw here on what I've heard referred to down in my, pleb peasant gold games as choke point Gibraltar, because in my experience, both playing and watching professional Overwatch, playing regular Overwatch, because I am nowhere near as good as these guys, it's really a sort of feast or famine sort of map. You see one of three. You see one of three outcomes on Watchpoint Gibraltar. You either see a full hold on point A, you make it halfway through point B, or you push it all the way in.
Pretty much.
Very
yeah.
rarely do you see the cart really stall in any additional places. So it's really going to be, the question is going to come down to which of these two teams can take control sooner, because that's all these games boil down to, is control. If you're in control, if you have the right momentum on your side, you're making the right decisions, and you can just keep control of the objective, payload, cart, whatever it may be, then you shouldn't have any issues from there. With Solstice going on the defense first, Regen is going to have, I mean, they're still going to be setting the win condition themselves. It's going to be, I guess, set a little bit more by Solstice. But Regen are looking, what them picking attack to me says is they're looking to shut this down early. They have complete confidence that they're going to be able to just throw that payload from point A to point C all the way across and still have a decent time bank left that's going to have Solstice sweating. So it's going to be up to Solstice to really find the eliminations that they need to find. There's no defender spawn, to really help them get back. So those early picks and then maintaining control of those team fights are going to be absolutely massive on the side of Solstice.
Yeah, and we're gonna have Solstice come out in the double bubble, Regen on this dive, right? So it's just gonna be a battle of which Winston can get more value in a sense, who can build up the nano boost faster, which right now is favoring Regen, but who's to say that can't flip if some damage is brought in.
And the Winston's trading positions, just both trying to dive the backlines of the enemy's teams, but they both managed to get out a little unscathed. A little bit of a tickle fight between the two Winstons. SCL-33 now turning his attention to green, almost gets that DMAX. Ski Coops getting brought dangerously low. They drop down to put a little bit more of a contest on the payload. Don't let it get as much value as we normally see on this map. And here we go. The first blood goes on the sniper duel between Lambent and Akiv. Lambent coming out on top. So, I mean, Solstice, as I was saying earlier, they now have control. They have the man advantage. SCL-33 kind of scuffing up a jump right there. We're not going to talk about that. Don't worry, buddy. Nobody saw that. More of a tickle fight, but now an electric angry monkey coming out from today, immediately just destroying Rem, turning him into Anna pancakes. Joey throwing out the rally just to try to keep himself alive. Seems like it could have been a little bit of a panic. It does allow them to secure the elimination on today, though, and try to push back the members of Regen. The pulse bomb comes out from... Nope, not a pulse bomb. A recall coming out from Ski Coops is not going to be enough to keep him alive. I don't know why I said pulse bomb. We're going to ignore that. Nobody heard that. And Solstice is going to control that fight and end it.
I don't know how or why, but Eski was actually like up on the balcony towards the end of first point, where the defenders usually. I don't know how he got up there, but I'm impressed regardless. So either way, I mean, this has been really back and forth, and honestly, not as many deaths as you might think. These teams have been really good thus far about disengaging, especially keeping their ultimates in check. Right, the support ultimates in particular have been going crazy.
Oh, Aspect's pulse bomb getting eaten as Eski's rally comes out. He gets hit with an anti-grenade, so is he going to get the elimination? No, he gets out alive. Lambent's Bob is going to find the elimination onto Eski to finally finish that off. However, they trade SCL-33 and Rem as the self-destruct comes in. It does not find any value. Green's going to get back in the mech. However, the grab comes out from Fofi. They nano tracer to get that Hoya combo going out. And he gets the elimination onto Lambent, so Regen have the man advantage. They have the momentum. They're going to continue to push that cart in. The mirror elimination onto Aspect, I believe, is probably going to force a last-minute contest. There it is, SCL-33 jumping onto the point. Akib's Bob coming out at 7v6. SCL-33 falling early. Pulse Bomb comes out from Ski Coops, but it doesn't find an elimination. It gets the payload in, however, as the attention gets split. Akib's Bob with a last-minute bye-bye elimination onto Rem. And the cart's going to continue to move into the hangar.
I think the last thing that you just said there with the attention getting split, I think that was a big reason for Regen pushing it in all the way, right? Because Akiv in particular with that much value completely uncontested is a really dangerous thing, especially when you also have a Tracer and a Monkey going in your backline causing a whole bunch of ruckus. So now you're seeing the teams swap it up a little bit, right? They're actually not going up onto the high ground this time around. They're more trying to contest this low ground.
Respectively, the armor is going to secure the lives of the supports on the side of Solstice, so today he's just going to have to jump out, keep his life. SCL-33, though, falls courtesy of Green. Aspect's Pulse Bomb finds value, takes down his mirror. Bob getting slept, having himself a little bit of a nap. Fofi having so much charge. Look at that glowing Zarya putting in a lot of damage, putting the members of Regen on retreat today, getting brought dangerously low, but he gets out with his life, gets nanoed in. Electric Monkey gets slept, whip-shotted out. Bob uppercuts him into the sky. They're going to dump a lot of damage into him. Is he going to be able to get out? It looks like he is. Green self-destruct getting thrown in. He's going to have to use it just to get back into the mech. SCL-33's Primal Rage is going to wear off before he sees any eliminations. The grab finds the supports of Regen. They don't see any eliminations, though, because Fofi gets slept out of it. Today's Primal Rage takes down Aspect. Joey pulling it, the rally, trying to get a bunch of damage out, trying to stall the cart. They are touching. They're doing what they can. That full charge Zarya is very dangerous, and he is going to slow the cart down despite getting purpled. SCL-33 onto the ball just to get back. Pile Driver kind of misses its mark as he gets on the grab bridge. Ski Coop's Pulse Bomb eliminates REM, doesn't manage to get out of there alive. Another Bob comes out, gets whip-shotted onto the back of the cart. Oh no, and the coach gun from Lambent just cost Fofi his life. A little bit of a team betrayal there, top 10 anime betrayals. A big Winston going to take down Joey. Ski Coop's balls though, nanoed aspects, they're trying their best to contest to everything they can. There's Bob, green self-destruct just to try to get back into his mech, keep it in the fight. Bob's doing what he can, doing something as Ash demands of him. Look at that now, Akiv is back onto the Doomfist. They find 2 eliminations onto Rem and Lambent. A little bit of a spin to win attempt from SEL, but he gets caught out. Aspect now trying to last minute contest with the Tracer. Hits the recall, stays on point, gets slept, seismic slammed and punched. And that's it, they capture the point. Lambent goes off the side just to get respawned with his team.
Yeah, you really don't want to get staggered that hard here, so not really any shocker that they just have to yeet themselves off the cliff, right? This has been ridiculously scrappy all push long, right? It kind of reminds me of Gardens of Lijiang Tower, right? Where Regen just does not want to give up ever. It doesn't matter if they're losing the fight, they're going to find a way to start winning it. And especially with basically 4 ultimates online, they have a distinct advantage on top of the defense now.
And they throw that rally out from Eski, gives them a lot of armor to let them engage in a big brawl inside these doorways. Primal Rage from today sees the elimination. 2 more falling behind him. They fight back and manage to secure the pick onto Ski Coops, but I mean, what's 1 to 4 now as Fofi falls? Regen gonna continue to push that cart forward. They kind of stepped off it for a second, but they got back. It's no worries.
They still have time to work it out, right? Although it is going to get a little bit dicey as they lost a lot of time just getting as scrappy as they did on second point. So if they want to capture it outside of overtime, which has a little bit less meaning here on Escort compared to like Hybrid, but at the very least they want to get as much time as possible to have that advantage, but both tanks going down. Okay, this is getting
Not
weird.
really sure where that self-destruct went from green, but the Grav did find a little bit of value from Fofi. Today falls in the back line, and Solstice finally get their footing and manage to push back the assault.
And only about 40 and counting seconds. So there's really only 1 good fight remaining. After that, it's just going to be a lot of staggering, which, I mean, at this point, we know Regen can do pretty well, but they don't want to, right? They want to win these fights as cleanly as possible. You already have a little bit of a contest onto the high ground. Both tanks from Regen kind of sticking out their necks up there, just making sure that it's awkward for Regen to push forward, but right now it's just an over-glorified staring contest. But Aspect wants to change that somewhere in the back line.
Yeah, finds that pick on the Ski Coops. He's going to be coming back with his Pulse Bomb, but they're going to have to touch something. Oh, smart play by Aspect. Jumps in front of that Bob to try and stop him from making it to the point. However, overtime does get triggered. Pulse Bomb comes out from Ski Coops, no value. Lambent takes down Bob, but Green and Akiv fight back with 2 headshot eliminations onto Fofi and Aspect. Overtime counter ticking away as Today throws out the Primal Rage, kind of beat around the supports of Solstice, doing what he can to try and get them off the cart. Joey throws the rally out, some more armor, a little bit of sustainability. They're going to try their best to stop the cart from making it all the way to point 3, but Eski's Pulse Bomb is throwing armor to the whole team, not just the support line. And with Ski Coops and Eski putting in the elimination work, Lambent is forced to come back onto the Doomfist. Misses that rocket punch, costing him his life, and it will get captured.
Yeah, that... Once again, it felt like it came down to no one pressuring the Ashe when it really mattered. And that just allowed Akiv to go off and do literally whatever he wanted, getting a ton of damage in. Didn't even need the Bob at the end of the day, right? Just needed to pump in damage, hit his shots, which obviously at this level they're going to be hitting their shots. And outside of getting a little bit scrappy, you know, the fights are elongated. We hear you, Twitch chat. we would like these to be cleaner too, but when the teams are so close to each other in skill, it's gonna get scrappy. It's gonna take a long time for them because neither of them want to give any ground whatsoever. It just leads to these fights that kill so much time off the clock, right? So at the very least, I guess that's probably gonna be Regen's strategy, is just do the same thing, wear it down overtime, and then win a singular fight before it gets to the end of the map. Otherwise, they gotta go into extra rounds and see what happens from there. Extra rounds is where things get real spicy, but we're not in extra rounds quite yet. We're still in just round 2.
And we're seeing what looks to be the same dive comp coming out from Regen, except this time onto the defense. So the question is now going to be, what is Solstice going to do to answer back? They managed to put up a stellar defense. I mean, how much of that time bank did they eat up with those fights and then winning those fights as well? So they're doing something that's working. It's just you got to fine tune it and get that one little, annoying screw to fit fully in place.
Yeah, well, you have Solstice doing the stereotypical teleport strat. Aspect goes back, swaps the Tracer. Nothing out of the ordinary. Double bubble, same as last time around. Fofi trying to get that 100 charge Zarya going once again.
Trying to make himself a big threat.
Wow.
SCL33 jumps in and finds a Kiv early.
Today.
Oh, and Lambent and Joey finding eliminations as well. Solstice's first defense just falls apart at the seams. I don't know what else to say to that, Acri. What just happened?
A great dive from Solstice. Honestly, I was just saying it was a great dive attempt from Solstice, and that's what they just keep doing that, right? It's gonna work. Already you have Akif getting a lot of pressure and has to get off the high ground, so this is gonna be great because they no longer have to worry about the Ashe being in a place where they can't get to her. Oh no.
Oh, today falls. SEL33 gets hit with that dynamite, but he does stay alive. Support's putting in work. Fofi getting brought dangerously low. Actually loses a little bit of HP, not just his shielding, but he keeps his life, and they take point A. Oh, today getting caught out in the bad spawn, so he's going to jump back, try and regroup with the team.
Yeah, that was about as fast as you could possibly capture Gibraltar first point, I think. The cart didn't really stop moving at any point in time. Outside of a few brief moments, but I mean, when you look at what Solstice has coming into this fight, well, they do not have an Ana. I can tell you that much with confidence. But they're gonna have a lot once they get Rem back.
Rally comes out from Joey as his whole team gets hit with that dynamite. Nanoed Monkey coming out on the side of Regen, but Lambent's Bob trying to find some value in that ship. Just kind of standing there, looking good, jumps away. Lambent and Today falling. Once again, the members of Solstice finding revenge for an elimination. And they're still winning out this team fight, though, pushing in quite hard.
Yeah.
This is a Solstice we have not seen throughout this series, and I gotta tell you, Acri, I'm liking it.
Yeah, they. Oh, green?
Green!
I don't know if that was expected or not, but it works.
Take the victories where you could get them. SCL33 gets nanoed, puts in a bunch of damage, but he gets hit with an anti-grenade and allows Regen to fight back and take him down before he can build up that primal and put in a lot of damage onto his team. Regen finally stopping that payload 2 meters away from point B.
Yeah, Solstice has a ton of time to work with, though, so this is not do or die situation quite yet. They have plenty of opportunities to take dry fights, to build up their ultimates so they can press Q all at once and just get second point and then worry about third, right? So this is still fine for Solstice. They just need to make sure they can get through these choke points in one piece, which is easier said than done. In all honesty, like you said, land up the choke points, and this is very much one of them, especially with the Kiv raining death from on high.
Oh, Today gets the early pick onto Rem, so Solstice doesn't have a full squad to go in on this attack. But they did force out Green's nerf, so they have one less thing to worry about.
Just gonna be pushing in a little bit to the Mega Health Pack room.
Yeah, what is this engagement? I'll tell you what it is. It's favoring Solstice now as they get the rally, get the elimination. Haskell, SCL being angry, very angry in the backlines. You wouldn't like him when he's angry. Picks down Eski. Today goes down as well. Ski Coop's coming out on the Doomfist, takes down Aspect. Bob comes out from Lambent, trying to be another man on the cart. Oh, takes down Ski Coops. Green is going to fall after losing the mech. And there's point B.
Took a little bit longer than I think Solstice wanted to, meaning it wasn't as fast as first point, but significantly faster than what Regen was able to do. You know, I saw some people in Twitch chat earlier saying that Jib is not necessarily Regen's best map, and I would almost believe it now, right? They definitely seem less coordinated on this compared to like the double shield, compared to the brawls that they were playing earlier, right? Still not bad, but I don't know, nervous is the right word, but it's less coordinated than you want from like a double bubble.
Well, there's a double bubble up top as the two Winston bubbles try to protect both of the teams from getting a lot of damage. However, Green loses the mech, and Akiv's Bob kind of really doesn't do anything. SCL does get eliminated though, so the push is going to slow down, but they can push the cart forward a little bit more as it wasn't too far ahead. Aspect having to throw the recall because he gets hit with that dynamite from Akiv. Now Solstice just kind of soft resetting, getting the team all together before they try to re-engage and push in. Aspect starting to go around. Looks like he's going to try and contest Ski Coops on that high ground. Wonder if he's going to be able to get that elimination. So far, nothing. Today gets Nano, jumps in on Rem. It's going to force Joey's rally out. And they Nano Today, who pops Primal just to try to fight back, keep the remainder of the team alive. Fofi, that high charge, trying to get out. You don't want that Zarya to lose all of that damage that have. Today's bubble just instantly getting fractured and destroyed. That's how powerful that Zarya can be. And they're kind of resetting a little bit of a slow take here. They know they have time to work with. There's another Nano out on the SCL. Self-destruct from Green. Fofi throwing the bubble up to keep himself alive. Throws the grab. He finds Eski. Lambent gets that elimination. The Visor from Ski Coop's not really finding anything. Bob putting in a lot of value on the point, getting some eliminations, softening up targets for Lambent. And look at that, a 2-minute and 9-second discrepancy. Oh, wow.
That's a lot of extra fights in favor of Solstice in this case. You know, there's a lot that's going on here, and it's hard to narrow it down to just one thing. I think in general, just the dives from Regen feel a lot more split than even their own offense, right? Where they were at least getting it to third point, right? The fights that they were winning, it felt like at least 3 people were diving in all at the same time. Whereas that entire defense, it felt really split, almost like they were playing one of those wrecking ball compositions, if you know what I mean. And it just didn't work, right? You're kind of playing against your compositioned strength with this standard dive where you can have, you know, the monkey, the diva, the tracer all go in together. And that really wasn't happening there on the defense. And they weren't engaging aggressively, or if they were, again, it wasn't together. So it's just this really big, awkward mess, which doesn't go over too well when you have Sklee and Fofi and Lambent and Aspects just causing a huge ruckus in the backline, sticking together in relative groups, as well as Joey and Rem doing a great job of keeping everyone alive. I noticed Joey has actually been very preemptive with the rallies whenever Today would get nano boosted, and I wonder if that had like a big factor to do with like how they won those fights so cleanly, or if that was just like something that happened on the side as well. But either way, it very much kept Solstice alive through what could have been a dicey situation.
So they are gonna try to repeat that success that they saw on their first defense. Kind of an early drop down from Sklee.
Oh, well.
But the early elimination comes through onto Akiv. This time mirroring what happened in the first push. Actually a reversal, if not so much of a mirror. And now a big engagement up top. Today and Green pushing in, trying to find another elimination to allow that cart to continue to move forward. But Green has to get out of dodge, getting hit with that anti-grenade, getting brought dangerously low. Sklee gets caught out, that shield bash too powerful, stunning him, preventing him from getting eliminated. Preventing the elimination, I should say, rather. Green finding Rem and Regen. Looks like they're going to win a pretty clean fight here. They do indeed touch for overtime. My heart stopped too. You're not alone there, Akri. There's the Nano coming out onto Today. They're trying to build up that Primal as fast as they can. He's not really finding anyone aside from Fofi, so it's a single target hunt down. And they're not finding the elimination. Here comes Bob from McKeith, but he hits a rock. He's not going to make it to the cart. So they have to rely on Ski Coops. And now there's another Bob coming out from Aspect. They Nano Fofi. That high charge Zarya with double damage is devastating. And they push Regen back, stopping them from capturing a point.
Didn't even need the grab from Fofi. Had it for so long. That was ridiculous, in all honesty. And mind you, Solstice now have 3 minutes and 9 seconds to push it not very far onto first point, right? So it's just prior to that yellow circle at the very end of first point. So win condition is set. If Regen managed to defend this, I'm going to be impressed, because their defense was not that great, right? It definitely devolved over the course of like all 3 points, so it was best on first point, but it still looks rather sloppy. However, it does look like they're changing a few things up potentially. They have the Sombra instead of the Ash, so maybe trying to get a little bit more aggressive, allowing even more people to be there all together. But it's hard to say, right? It's going to depend on how they take their engages, who they decide to hack, how they focus down those targets, and then even then, just depends on how Solstice are playing, right? If they're playing as good as they were on their offense, this might be over rather quickly, and Solstice could start evening out the series.
How much money do you think Winston spends on peanut butter? I mean, looking at the jars just littering that base.
I don't know. It's been a while since I bothered to worry about Overwatch lore because we haven't had any in forever, but that's neither here nor there. It looks like we're sticking on basically same old from Solstice. Why change it at this point? It
If it
works.
ain't broke, don't fix it. Fofi taking a quick nap, rejuvenate himself, gets back into the fight, and now they're going to continue to push that cart forward. Oh, the Sombra coming out. Is he going to get a successful hack? So far, nothing. A big anti-grenade. Oh no, the Winston falls from Solstice. Falls early. Aspect going to continue to push that cart forward, though, putting in some work. But they do demech and eliminate green, so we're kind of even here in terms of numbers and rolls.
Okay.
Each team
Maybe.
still having a tank. That cart is getting dangerously close to the end here. They have not really stopped it yet. They hack out Aspect. No recalls, no blinks. That's almost a guaranteed elimination. There it is. Rem finding the early pick on, or the trade pick onto Akiv, and now with Eski falling. Oh no, Pascal is the only healer down for Regen. They're gonna be able to really fight back with just the single target healing and Madonna. They have the nano, and there it is. It comes out on the green. He gets hit with an anti-grenade and slept. Is he going to throw the self-destruct? Yep, there it is. He's trying to get back in the mech, but they take him down before he could do it. They just need to get back onto the cart and continue to push it in, because now with green down today, dangerously close. There's the Primal Rage, the 1000 HP, but the Grav! Oh no! Double elimination from the Primal Grav, just standing them in place, beating them down, those giant ham hocks that Winston has. And the cart's gonna push in and take us 2-1. Solstice has gotten their first map.
About time, in all honesty. If this was a 3-0, it wouldn't have spoken to how close these teams have been playing each other. Really, main support in general. Probably just a lot of cleave damage? Yeah. Yep. Either which way. I noticed Solstice in particular, every time someone got slept, they proceeded to get like antied and shield bashed and like booped and everything under the sun, right? It was generally coming onto today, so he was not having a good time. But I mean, that's just the job of Solstice, is to make his life not fun. He's not allowed to play the video game if they have anything to say about it.
You're gonna deny your healing and then make sure we don't let you get out of the fight. So a very well thought out strategy from Solstice. Perfect execution on those strategies. Oh wow, I do need to take a moment to I noticed Twitch chat kind of flaming me a little bit. I apologize to the chat. I apologize to Sklee. I have not been pronouncing that right. SCL33. Let's make it a meme. Have him aware of that, and he can, fight me behind the high school and just, beat me up, because we all know, look at me, I'm not going to win that fight. He's a Winston, for crying out loud.
All right. Okay, so this is interesting. Solstice is banning King's Row.
Bar?
I never thought I'd see the day.
No, same here.
So, although I guess it kind of makes sense, because I think Regen was the one who looked more comfortable on the Brawl.
I mean, definitely a mind game from Solstice right there. You ban arguably the most favorite map in the entire game, and a map that surely everyone scrims on because it's so much of a favorite. So they definitely have to have a plan here, and I don't know, banning King's Row already, I could say that plan's probably working, because I'm pretty sure we still have yet to hear what Region's map pick is, so it seems like they might also have been caught off guard by that. I mean, I know it caught me off guard. It sounds like it caught you off guard.
Okay, they're going to Oasis. So we are going to one of the other control maps in the pool, now that we can no longer go to what is probably and arguably the favorite map of just everyone. Speaking of favorites, by the way, we're not contractually obligated, but one step below that, obligated to tell you about the MVP votes. Make sure you put that down. You know, whoever you would like to see interviewed for the post-match stuff. That's it'll be rather important, as you can imagine, to give whoever deserves it a chance to talk a little bit, right? It's not
Does
every
not
day
have
that
to be on the winning team.
Yep. It's not every day that the players get that kind of spotlight, right? Oftentimes we just get to see their play, so it is important that they get to actually speak to the fans, to the community, every so often. It's like I don't know why the team swapped sides, but looks like they swapped sides. So,
Maybe Regen just likes being red.
yeah, sure.
Actually, no, they're blue. Maybe Solstice likes being red. Who knows? I gotta say though, with all the hype and reputation preceding Pascal, he's appropriately popped off
Yeah.
quite wonderfully. But I gotta talk about Joey. The amount of healing that he was able to put out as a brig on Watchpoint Gibraltar, 20,000 healing plus. He outdid Rem's Ana by a deficit of 7,000 healing by the time that map was over. Astronomical, not something I would expect to see in the slightest. And not only is the healing coming through, the crowd control coming through with that stun whip shot, the damage that you would expect coming through from Diet Reinhardt. I mean, he is putting in an insane amount of work. Absolutely, I think rivaling the reputation that Pascal has had coming into this. So I'm casting my vote for Joey so far, and my vote has not been cast yet. But Joey is absolutely proving himself to be a tremendous asset on the side of Solstice.
Oh, absolutely, and good main support can very much win games, as we saw. A very big reason why they did so well in Gibraltar. I saw a boop come from both of these teams. We have more stereotypical brawl coming in from Regen with the Wrecking Ball comps from Solstice. Curious to see who comes out on top. Oh, that was nasty, Ski Coops.
Speaking of the Wrecking Ball, he gets taken down by Eski, I believe, or it might have been Pascal, and then Lambent falling is going to give Regen first cap of the point.
Wait, but it is flipping over to Solstice for the time being. Not sure who has advantage, but it looks like Regen's going to hold on to it. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they jump in on Sklee rather quickly and get that elimination, and Solstice now in retreat.
Yeah, well, they kind of have to, right? This, fortunately enough, ironically enough, I guess even, Solstice's composition was originally made more or less to counter the very specific comp that Regen is playing. Now, granted, at this level, counter comps aren't really the end-all be-all, right? It very much matters how you play them, not just what you're playing. So they're gonna have to play it right, but this is a good composition to divide and conquer.
The Amplification Matrix gonna do just that, secure the divide and conquer. However, Pascal loses his life not long after dropping that window. Green gets a revenge pick onto Sklee. Oh, and the pulse bomb from Aspect eliminating the Reinhardt. That is going to be big. But Regen's not done. They're fighting back with another elimination. They're still even a 4-4. Joey picks Lambent up, says get back into the fight. The Blizzard comes out from Ski Coops. That's going to be some big crowd control. Sklee, I don't know what that wall was. I think it might have saved Sklee's life. Sound Barrier comes out to counter out, to assist in the self-destruct rather. And then there's the Transcendence from Rem. They're going to try to push back in with that, possibly even retreat. However, Ski Coops, Sklee with the Overwatch moment, slamming the Wrecking Ball into the back of Ski Coops, protecting the mech of Fofi. Akeem takes Lambent out of the sky, and the fight's going to take over to the side. Big Earth Shatter is going to secure the elimination onto Sklee. Pulse Bomb! Oh no, they've stuck the mech, and he just flew it into Eski's face. Poor Green, he's going to be feeling that tomorrow. The point, however, does flip over to Solstice. They're still contesting, though, with a baby diva. Green goes over the edge of the map. There it is.
I don't know if that was as much of a recontest as it was just a pretty gnarly stagger. Granted, Solstice kind of has to do that now, right? Because Regen are in one fight territory. They just need to win a singular fight, and they're good for this route. But fortunately for Solstice, they have a pretty distinct ultimate advantage. I think Regen used a lot to try and hold on to that as much as possible. It's going to get awkward for them now.
Oh, the Deadeye takes Joey out of the sky as the minefield comes out. Akiv falls right after. Lambent duplicates the Reinhardt. Might kind of be a little unneeded there. It gets knocked out of it anyway, so no worries about that. Self-destruct is being thrown out from Fofi, and it manages to find Akiv on the other side of that amplification matrix. So the point is going to be flipping up to Regen. Oig step on at the last second to contest. Doing what he can as Aspects, but he's going to recall out. Point flips back to Regen. Akiv now onto that Doomfist to try to get the stall in. Are they going to be able to make it for overtime? They have to touch right now to get it. And there it is. They do secure it with Sklee on the Wrecking Ball. The Valkyrie comes out from Joey to give his team some healing and damage boost in. Skikoop's Blizzard going to force them to try and take a long way around. Might prevent a lot of people from making it onto the point. However, he falls after throwing it out. Aspect's death evens things up. The self-destruct comes out. No eliminations found, but that Doomfist putting in work with a key, finding two before Sklee's pile driver takes him down. Eski drops the sound barrier, trying to secure the victory. It's going to force out Ren's Transcendence, so now they're just kind of holding on to the point. The pile driver tries to deny that res, but it comes through anyway. Lambent is back in the fight today, getting just that health bar was deleted very rapidly. Green eliminates Lambent, though. In danger is Solstice of losing this round because Regen, they seem to be in full control right now. They lose Green, though, so that's going to put the question mark back on who is going to take it. Immortality Field is down from Pascal, so they don't have that to protect from any ults. There's the Minefield trying to force Regen to take a long way back to point. Skikoops falls. Today looking dangerously low. He gets taken down as well. And there it is. Point's going to flip over to Solstice once again.
If there's one skill in this game that I feel like Regen outclasses Solstice in a lot of ways, it's got to be stalling the point, right? Because they just stalled that for what felt like forever, right? Like the next time the overtime wick goes through for Regen, I feel like it's going to go down instantaneously just because of how long that stall went for. Now, we are getting into a little bit of a dicey situation here for both teams because we're basically into one fight territory for everyone. So I expect literally every ultimate to come out as soon as they get it, soon enough, but it's really going to depend on who can find that first pick here. Oh, no.
Pascal drops the amplification matrix and takes down Lambent with it. So now Regen are up, and with Sklee falling as well, they might be able to take the point and get that immediate overtime takedown. The mech from Fofi immediately, and I mean immediately removed. Joey barely makes it onto the point. I don't even know if that really counted as him touching the point. Doesn't really matter in either case because Regen are going to take round one and be a round away from closing out this series.
Been a rather long series, in all honesty, but Regen definitely poised to take it, especially with this next map being City Center. So it's going to be, well, there's a decent amount that can be played here. They could definitely just kind of run it back with exactly what they played last round for both of these teams. But if you're Solstice, maybe you want to play something a little bit different. And they are kind of teasing the Sigma instead of the Diva for this Wrecking Ball. But otherwise, looks relatively the same. Aspect's probably going to swap off of the Symmetra once they TP their team forward and probably swap to like a Tracer. It's my guess. Yeah, sure enough.
Yep. They might want to throw a little bit. But the healers of Solstice, 4 deaths apiece.
Yeah,
when you don't have your healers, you lose the fight.
Especially Rem, like the Zen is crucial in these Wrecking Ball compositions. Also, the Wrecking Ball is crucial, which they no longer have, so that's not a great start.
Nope. Regen gonna establish their presence on the point with that. Looks like Solstice is gonna do what they can to try and prevent them from getting an early capture. The Monkey diving in with today gets that Discord. Oh, a big 3-man flashbang. However, Lambent, Rem, and Fofi fall not long after that. So Regen have the numbers, only down Pascal. They might be able to do what they need to secure their eliminations, get this first capture point, and start eking their way towards winning out the series. Sklee doing everything he can with that Wrecking Ball. The stall characters doing everything they can to get on this point and hold on to it. Aspect falls. Akiv's Pulse Bomb not really getting anyone. He's going to want that back. Oh, Sklee getting hacked out and taken down. They're diving onto Fofi. There goes the mech. And there goes Fofi. And there goes the point to Regen.
Yeah, it's really only a matter of time. They're just going in already.
Yeah, Pascal's Coalescence allows them to get an early elimination onto Lambent, but look at that, Aspect has blinked onto the point along with Sklee, and they flipped it over. They made them regret going in there. A two-man EMP just to make them pay for their transgressions, and pay they do with their lives. At least Aspect does. Sklee manages to get out, says, sorry bro, I tried. They're about to take the point back anyway, with Fofi losing his mech and then his life. Oh no, Green throwing out that self-destruct. It looks like he was getting taken out of mech. Just gets back into it. You want the mech more than you want the self-destruct, so smart play there.
Crucially as well, Solstice actually did a great job of capping that point. Even though they didn't win the fight, it's 15% that's not given to Regen, so it gives Solstice a lot more opportunities to push in, especially with the huge amount of ultimates they have.
Here comes Joey's rally. Lambent's Deadeye. Is he going to find anything? He does take down Eski. Green gets demeched as well. So now Solstice have the man advantage to try to push in. Today, Primal Rage, they might want that back. I mean, he didn't really secure any value with it. There goes Pascal as well. Fofi getting hacked. But, I mean, you still got 2 shotguns mounted onto your mech. You're still going to put out a lot of damage. The Monkey of Regen falls. The point flips back to Solstice.
And Solstice retains a lot of their ultimates, right? They still have the Nano Boost if they want to do the Electric Cowboy or something like that. They have the Pulse Bomb, which is, again, kind of just like a giant cooldown, if you ask me, but nevertheless impactful. But Ski Coops has the MP, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on that, how they decide to use it, because it could be rather large, especially if it hits Rem before they can use the Nano.
Pulse Bomb and not Death Blossom, Sound Barrier and the EMP don't result in any deaths. However, Akiv's Pulse Bomb comes out. Ooh, Joey catches it on his shield barely. The Deadeye and Self-Destruct coming out from Solstice. Self-Destruct just to get back into the mech. However, Lambent finds Green with the Deadeye. Sklee gets hacked. Are they going to secure that elimination? No, he does manage to get out very carefully. A big pile driver displacing 3 members of Regen. The point still in control of Solstice. They had to commit a couple of ultimates there, but I mean, they're getting them back. They're pushing Regen back. This is their fight to lose.
Yeah, definitely, especially with Regen not having too many resources to work with. I mean, they're going to have 2 tank ultimates like midway through this fight, but we're getting into one fight territory, and Solstice have a lot to work with here. They're coming up on quite a bit, especially the rally in particular is going to make it really difficult to displace them once that goes online.
They almost take the point back. Solstice steps on at the last second to contest it. Joey pops the rally, and Sklee throws the minefield. However, Green Self-Destruct is going to remove the minefield as soon as it comes out, and Fofi is going to lose the mech right after he gets back into it. Akiv, double kill on the Pulse Bomb. Regen now have the man advantage. They take the point back. Are they going to be able to keep it? Sklee fights back and takes down Today, and he rolls into the back line, tries to get out with his life. He does get all the way back into the spawn, dangerously low to being taken down.
Yeah, the only thing keeping Sklee alive there was definitely the adaptive shields, much to the chagrin of anyone who's played against Wrecking Ball in comp, but neither here nor there. Ski actually almost following to Aspect and Sklee in the backline. Actually, Ski might still fall. Oh dear, that's not
No,
good.
he takes down Ski Coops. Oh man, Solstice now up the man advantage. They could be able to take this fight. Big pile driver. They nano the Diva. The Deadeye finds Eski. Fofi and Sklee in the back line. However, the tank line putting in work. Today gets hit with that Pulse Bomb, jumps out to protect his partner, and he gets his life taken down in the process anyway. Minefield and self-destruct.
We're going to university.
Is university.
Now, this isn't the end-all be-all of the series, right? Like, the buck doesn't necessarily stop here, because if Solstice wins, we're going to another map. Because it is 2-1 in favor of Regen currently. But Solstice are very much fighting for that chance to get to a map 5 and get their chance to win everything out. But if Regen wins this round, series is done, right? And Solstice go down into the lower bracket from here, which I'm sure they would love to avoid if possible. So we're having the teams tease something between a May and a Doomfist, not really opting for either. Which, okay, so it looks like, yeah, Regen is going to be sticking on the Doomfist, whereas Lambent is going to be going back to the same old Satan herself, you know, good old May.
A very brawl-heavy map is University, and these teams pulling brawl out en masse. Ski Coop's falling first. Big pin there, displacing Sklee. However, it's going to cost today. Fofi following with those Diva shotguns. But then Fofi loses the mech. They're just trading back and forth. Aspect taking down Pascal, and then Akiv removing the opposite Baptiste. Lambent takes down Green. What? This is brawl at its finest. Point is unlocked. Nobody's really touching it today. Chasing down Lambent. Oh no, that Earth Shatter from Sklee isn't going to find anyone, and Lambent loses his life. But it secures the point for Solstice. Regen going to start pushing back hard. Here comes a Deadeye from Akiv. Is he going to find anything with it? Nope, gets eaten out by Fofi. That's the second ultimate we've seen negated by Fofi in this series. Another Earth Shatter from today is going to get negated as well. Point's going to flip over to Regen. Akiv and Pascal putting in the work. Deadeye from Aspect is going to not find anything. He loses his life. Regen wiped the floor with Solstice after taking the point.
I don't think we've given him enough credit thus far, at least not by namesake, but Akiv has been ridiculously crucial to winning a lot of these scrappy fights for Regen, right? Like, that fight in particular, I think it really started to show, because he got, like, what, 3-4 kills there, or final blows at the very least. But not only that, he took out Aspect's mid-high noon, which could have been terrifying, because from Aspect's point of view, he had at least 3 skulls.
Sound barriers out from both teams, and the Blizzard thrown out by Lambent freezes Akiv in place. They don't get that elimination. The Immortality field is on point. Akiv takes down Joey as the self-destruct doesn't find any value other than displacement. Fofi self-destruct comes out. It's going to put a dent in today's shields. And then with Rem falling, Regen are still going to hold on to the point.
Zachary? Oh, okay. Fofi actually manages to get out with his mech, so at the very least there's not going to be a big stagger there. But we are getting inching towards, you know, that 2.5 fight territory for Regen, so they're looking pretty good right now, especially considering neither team has a ton of ultimates to work with, and Sklee can't land a shadow right now.
Nope, today blocked it. He gets hit with a flashbang, but it doesn't secure anything. In fact, they fight back, losing Incarnate. There's a reason we call him Mr. Fister. It just propels him forward.
Sure, let's go with that. In particular, I'm waiting to see how these high noons play out, though, because that could be rather large.
Oh, a little bit of a tango. It takes 2 to tango, but Aspect is going to come out on top with that Deadeye, eliminating Akiv. The Reinhardts pin into each other, getting a little bit of that stun. Meteor Strike. Ski Coops goes up, comes down onto a baby diva. Ski Coops, that's bullying. We don't condone that here.
Well, I guess it's not as much bullying as a stagger, but at this point it'd be silly to stagger, because that's Regen taking the series. Whew, that was a long one.
These teams, what can be said?
Doomfist play of the game. Let's see what it is. Obviously this round, because I don't think there was any other Doomfist play in previous rounds. Oh, well, Lambent went to the stratosphere. And there goes the baby somewhere. Oh yeah, that was honestly a really great series to cast over and watch. I think Solstice has a long losers bracket run in front of them if they keep playing like that, right? Obviously the competition is going to be stiff. These are all pretty much tier 3 teams in this tournament, but they didn't play bad by any stretch. I think Regen just had the slight edge, especially when it came to playing the clock and stalling.
Yeah, Solstice need to tighten it up. They do have a long lower bracket ahead of them if they can tighten it up. If they can't, it's gonna be a pretty short visit down there. About as long as you can expect the baby diva to last in the middle of a battlefield. Now, for everyone watching, this is your last chance. Get those votes in. Get your vote for who you think was the MVP of today's match. You want to hear from your favorite players? This is the way to do it. We'll be pulling them in for an interview once the countdown timer is finished. I believe we have a couple minutes left. So go ahead, scroll down, click on the name that you want to see and hear from. And I don't know, who do you want to pull in here, Acri? This is
if I had to give it to the most standout player today, that's tough, because I think there were a lot of really good standouts. Pascal, obviously. I think Akiv played really well. I think Joey played really well. Out of those three, I'd almost have to give it to Akiv, right? That the hit scan for most of the series. Like I said earlier, we almost didn't give him enough credit at times until like the very end there, when he really started to pop off and be that clutch factor in Oasis. So,
Yeah,
but
he
it's not just up
was.
to me; it's up to you all to vote, right?
I stuck with my gut. I had to go with that Joey. I love seeing me supports pop off and just put in insane amount of healings. As much as I would love to be a DPS main myself, Lucio is my heart and soul in this game, and seeing my secondary support of Brig put in that work with Joey, and just he was on it. Those rallies, the crowd control, there was everything to be said there about Joey. Akiv, absolutely a dominating factor on that Oasis map, and throughout the series, kind of that pulling the strings from the shadow, as it were. You know, he wasn't really standout pop off. We didn't see him lighting up the kill feed from the elimination standpoint, but I'm pretty sure I saw him as an assist on what, 85% of every elimination that we saw today.
Yeah, something like that. It was ridiculous.
Pascal, I gotta say, Pascal, that reputation did precede him. His offensive attributes were there. He kept his team up. He put some damage in, but we saw him fall a lot.
It comes with the territory, right? I think it was yesterday when the San Francisco Shock played. They showed Violet was like 20 out of 22 for fewest deaths, but at the same time, he's like first in everything else. So it's a trade off, right? You gotta weigh the benefits and the risks, and if you can win, like Regen did, it's worth it.
I might not be alive long, but when I am there, you're gonna know.
Yeah, pretty much. So I mean, overall, great play. You know, despite us not naming it all 12 players in the lobby, I think everyone played great. So gonna be, let's see, checking on match chat.
Looks like we have about 2 more minutes before
we
we find out who our MVP is.
So we just gotta stall for a little bit longer, but overall, Brad, but what would you say your favorite map of this series was, right? Because they all had different aspects to them, different levels of play, different flavors, if you will.
Different aspects. I see what you did there. A little bit of a nod towards aspect. Also putting in a lot of work was aspect, absolutely. If I had to pick a favorite map on this series, I gotta give it to Watchpoint Gibraltar. Not only did we see nothing short of a dominant performance from Solstice, we saw Regen putting in an insane amount of work, showing that you can do nothing wrong and still lose out. And so it was, honestly, in my opinion, I would say that that is a map that is, performance-wise, that was the map that shows this is what Overwatch is all about. We saw some swaps coming through to pull out some counters. Again, those shifts in mindsets and play styles that I was talking about earlier, we saw plenty of that on Gibraltar. We saw some questionable things, such as a Bob slamming into a rock instead of making it to the cart. We saw some amazing things like a big self-destruct. We saw lots of crowd control, lots of peel for supports or just people that got caught out. And Solstice, the combo of anti-sleep, shield bash, death was absolutely stellar. So I gotta give it to Gibraltar for my favorite map of this series.
Certainly. But it looks like we no longer have to stall because the votes are in for the MVP, and we have him now here. One of the DPS from Solstice. It is Aspect. How are you feeling after that rather long and rough game?
I'm not feeling bad. It's feeling pretty good. It was a good game.
It certainly was. Yeah, I felt very close despite the scoreline.
Yeah.
Now, Aspect, we saw you throwing out a lot of damage, a lot of crowd control. What was your mentality as you kind of just danced through the team to help lead Regen towards this victory?
Yeah. I'm wrong team.
Or Solstice. Oh wow,
It's been a long
embarrassing.
game.
I'm gonna hit that rewind button. Wow. All right. Yep. Go ahead and flame me, chat. I earned it. You guys have earned this. Aspect.
You heard
Let me
it
try
here.
that again.
single-handedly through so Regen could win. I want all of the cash.
Now, Acri, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go first because I'm a little too embarrassed to proceed from here.
Sure. Now, in both control maps, obviously you guys lost them, but they got really close down to the wire. What do you think you guys were lacking, or what do you think Regen did right to kind of push them slightly over that edge, right? Because it felt so close every single time.
I think Regen did a super good job of just engaging together and then just staying together constantly, and like it always felt like everyone was under pressure. And I think our team like collectively agreed that we could probably work a little bit more on like focusing and like regrouping and playing a lot more together, and especially that later into the fight where it became a lot more scrappy, because that's where it seemed that Regen shown a lot more. Especially with players like Ski Coop and Keeve just coming in and killing 3 after.
Definitely. Now, kind of flipping the script there on Gibraltar, you guys came out and just dominated. Like it was night and day. It felt like, right? Like Regen just didn't have a chance to breathe, and you were the ones going at them nonstop. So, what kind of flipped there? Is that just a map that you're extremely comfortable on, or is something your coach give you some expert advice between the maps?
It was a couple of things. We were really comfortable on a lot of maps. Gibraltar is one of them, and we have this joke going on Solstice because no matter what happens, we always tend to just start slow. So we always end up either reverse sweeping or like starting down a map anyway. So that third map is just like, all right, just time to reverse sweep. We're gonna go back into it like full send. So it was kind of a combination of resurgence of energy and just really wanting to go back.
All right. Well, you can go, Bramble.
Yeah.
now that I've
Take
got
two.
my head on straight, we'll take take 2. Pretty much the same question though. Aspect, you showed quite a dominant Tracer performance throughout the match, and there was a bit of a hype up of Pascal. I know we had Russo in here earlier talking about he was somebody that you guys had your eyes on. Was there any specific strategy you had to dealing with him? Was it sort of like take him down first and the team crumbles, or take his team down around him sort of mentality?
Heading into this match, no one was really thinking about anybody who was like collectively on the enemy team. We were just headed into the match just thinking of our own game and how we were wanting to play it. So there wasn't any specific strategy to play around certain players. We just kind of went in and did what we usually do.
The pretty common response I hear from top teams. It seems to be the more healthy mentality. Bramble, do you have any more questions?
Nope, that is all I have. If that's all you have, Acri, then Aspect, thank you for your time. Good luck in your next match, and I'm going to apologize again for that little mix-up that I had a moment ago.
Starting the quotes chat, it's over.
Do you have any social medias or anything you want to shout out anywhere that the audience can find you?
Not me particularly, since my social media is kind of dead. But feel free to check out the Solstice Twitter. We're decently active, especially as of recent. So at Solstice Gaming on Twitter. Otherwise, no.
All right, then that's pretty much all we have for you. So Bramble, you want to take it out from here?
I don't know. You think I can get that right, Acri? Only one way to find out, I suppose.
We're allowed to mess up. It's live.
Well, everyone, that is going to do it for this first match of tonight. Make sure you stay tuned for the final match of the round 1 bracket. Match 8 is going to be Bay State versus Kent State. Remember to follow the channel, subscribe if you like. You can find Star Esports Live on YouTube, Twitter, and you can always join the Discord. I believe we have all of that information just underneath the stream here, so go ahead and scroll down, check all of that out. I have been Bramblebush, the one that couldn't get things straight, and with me I have the always professional, amazing Acrinator.
And I think that's all we've got for you. So stay tuned for 20 minutes or so. The stream will end and restart, if I'm not mistaken, and you'll get a look at the final game of round one, like we said. So stay tuned for that. And until then, thank you for watching.